Proper food handling and safety, Part 1A. Bacteria. Most bacteria are harmless and can even be beneficial, like the kind used to make yogurt, cheese, pickles, and buttermilk. However, harmful bacteria can cause foodborne illness in humans. In fact, out of all the microorganisms of concern for food safety, bacteria and viruses pose the greatest threat to human health. Food can become contaminated with foodborne bacteria, mainly from animals, um, with manure or saliva, or disease microorganisms from within the animal. For example, if meat contains harmful bacteria and it is not thoroughly cooked to kill the bacteria, foodborne illness may result once the food is eaten. Bacteria is also found in soil that is contaminated by animal droppings, which can be transferred to the crops that we eat, as well as water contaminated by animal droppings, which can be transferred to humans when the water is consumed or sprayed on crops, or from humans, from infected hands that touch the foods that we eat. Where do bacteria live? Bacteria are found everywhere. They live on the human body. For example, about 600 types of bacteria live on the skin, and saliva contains about 6 different kinds of bacteria. Water, wind, insects, plants, and animals carry bacteria. They also live on clothes, human hair, room temperature foods, and surfaces in our home, school, and workplaces. How do bacteria grow? Most bacteria multiply through a process called binary fission, which is a form of asexual reproduction in which the deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA, that holds all of the cell's genetic information doubles. The cell splits, and 2 independent cells are formed. One cell can double within 20 to 30 minutes. You can't see, taste, or smell bacteria in food, but they can be present in all food and multiply rapidly under the right conditions. That's why it's important to properly handle all food. To survive and reproduce, bacteria needs these things. Bacteria needs nutrients. Bacteria need many of the same nutrients as humans in order to thrive, such as glucose, amino acids, and some vitamins and minerals. For example, bacteria grow rapidly in high protein foods such as meat, poultry, eggs, dairy, and seafood. Moisture. Most bacteria thrive in moist environments. Dry foods such as sugar, flour, dry cereal, rice, and cookies do not have enough moisture to allow bacteria to grow. On the other hand, if dry foods become contaminated from infected hands or equipment, for example, bacteria can survive on the food and make people ill, but they can't grow or multiply until the food is eaten. pH. Most bacteria will not grow at pH levels below 4.6. Microorganisms thrive in a pH range above 4.6. That's why acidic foods like vinegar and citrus juices seldom provide a favorable climate for pathogenic bacteria. Time. Bacteria can double their numbers in 20 minutes under optimal conditions. Foodborne pathogenic bacteria grow best at human body temperature, which is 98.7, and can divide 2 to 3 times per hour. Food that is left out at room temperature for long periods of time creates an inviting environment for bacterial growth. Temperature. Bacteria can multiply at temperatures between 34 degrees Fahrenheit and 125 degrees Fahrenheit. They divide rapidly between 80 and 105. Proper cooking kills bacteria in food, and chilling foods allow and chilling foods slows the growth of bacteria. Both methods decrease the risk of foodborne illness. How can you control the bacteria in foods? One way is to keep cold food cold, meaning below a temperature where bacteria can grow. Usually this is below 40 degrees, but some pathogenic bacteria grow slowly at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature at which water freezes. Some diseases caused by pathogenic bacteria include foodborne illness, tuberculosis, cholera, bacterial meningitis, Legionnaire's disease, rheumatic fever, typhoid tetanus, pneumonia, strep throat, stomach ulcers, tooth decay, and skin infections. Did you know about 60 years ago there were only 5 known organisms that caused foodborne illness? Today there's at least 25 known foodborne pathogens, including more than 20 newly discovered ones. There has been a phenomenal increase in these pathogens. Campylobacter jejuni, Yersinia enterocolitica, E. coli, Vibrio cholera, Listeria monocytogenes, and the noroviruses. E. coli was first recognized as a pathogen in 1982. This bacterium can also be transmitted from person to person. People who swim in pools contaminated with feces from a baby's diaper, for example, can become infected with this organism. Some of these numbers per year. So let's look at diseases caused by food and resulting in hospitalizations. 128,000. Gastrointestinal illnesses, foodborne illness that sometimes gets mistaken for the stomach flu, 48 million. And deaths related to foodborne illness, number 3,000. Proper food handling, 1B. Food safety concerns you. Everyone shops for, prepares, and eats food. That's why it's so important to follow the basics of food safety. Harmful bacteria that may be present in food can cause foodborne illness when the food is eaten. All along the food chain, food safety experts are working to keep food safe on the farm, through the processing plant, during transportation, and at the supermarket and restaurant. Once you take the food home from the supermarket and restaurant, you also have an important role to play. Foodborne illness can affect anyone at any time, but certain people are more likely to get sick from foodborne bacteria. And once they're sick, they face the risk of serious health problems, even death. Such at-risk people include pregnant women, young children, people with chronic illnesses and weakened immune systems, and older adults. To fight bacteria that cause foodborne illnesses, just follow these 4 steps to food safety: clean, cook, combat cross-contamination, and chill. The first way to combat bacteria is to clean. Wash your hands and cooking or food prep surfaces often. You can't see, taste, or smell them, but bacteria is everywhere and they can spread throughout the kitchen and get into cutting boards, utensils, sponges, countertops, and food. Make sure there is hand washing soap and paper towels or a clean cloth at every sink in your house and in Santiago's kitchen. Wash your hands with hot soapy water for at least 20 seconds of active rubbing and scrubbing before and after handling food, and after using the bathroom, before touching clean plates, setting the table, changing diapers, touching an animal, touching your hair or face, coughing, blowing your nose, touching trash, and dirty plates. Thoroughly scrub your hands, wrists, fingernails, and in between your fingers. Rinse and dry hands with paper towels or a clean cloth. Never dry your hands on a towel that is dirty or that has raw meat, fish, or poultry juices. Hot water that is comfortable for washing hands is not enough to kill bacteria. The body oils on your hands hold soils and bacteria. So hot or warm, soapy water is more effective than cold, soapy water at removing those oily soils and bacteria in them. Did you know it has been estimated that proper hand washing could eliminate close to half of all cases of foodborne illness? Women wash their hands more often than men, 74% versus 61%. A study of 305 school children found that the youngsters who washed their hands 4 times a day had 24% fewer days off due to respiratory illness and 51 fewer days due to upset stomach. Surface cleaning. Wash your cutting boards, dishes, utensils, and countertops with hot, soapy water after preparing each food item and before you go on to the next food. Kitchen sanitizers can be used periodically for added protection against bacteria. You can also use 1 teaspoon of liquid chlorine bleach per quart of water to sanitize surfaces. The bleach solution needs to sit on the surface to be sanitized for about 10 minutes to be effective. Replace excessively worn cutting boards, including plastic and wooden boards. Bacteria can grow in the hard-to-clean grooves and cracks. In your refrigerator, wipe up spills immediately. Clean refrigerator surfaces with hot, soapy water and once a week. Throw out perishable foods that should no longer be eaten. Keep pets off kitchen counters and away from food. Empty trash cans often and clean them when necessary. Oh, yuck! 20% of consumers do not wash their hands and kitchen surfaces before preparing foods. Clean hands and surfaces is your first step in safe food handling. Here you are going to answer the questions in your notebook before you go on to the next section.
Proper food handling, part 2. Cook. Cook foods to proper temperatures. Cooking food safely is a matter of degrees. Food safety experts agree that foods are properly cooked when they're heated for a long enough time and at a high enough temperature to kill harmful bacteria that cause foodborne illness. This temperature can vary from food to food, too. Ground meat and meat mixtures, such as beef, pork, veal, lamb, turkey, and chicken, need to reach 160 to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. They do not need any rest time. Fresh beef, veal, lamb, steaks, roast, or chops need to reach 145 degrees Fahrenheit with a 3-minute rest time. Poultry all needs to reach 165 degrees, whether it's chicken, turkey, poultry breasts, legs, thighs, wings, duck, goose, or stuffing that's either cooked alone or in the bird. All need to reach 165 degrees. Pork and ham, such as fresh pork, fresh ham, need to reach 145 degrees and rest for 3 minutes. If it's pre-cooked ham, you only need to bring it to 140 without any rest time. Eggs and egg dishes need to reach different temperatures. So eggs, you cook until the yolk and white are firm. Egg dishes, if it's a baked casserole of some kind, need to reach 160 degrees, no wait time. Leftovers and casseroles both need to be heated to 165 degrees. For seafood, if you are cooking fish with fins, you need to reach 145 degrees or until the flesh is opaque, where you cannot see through it and it separates easily with a fork. Shrimp, lobster, and crab need to be cooked until the flesh is pearly and opaque. Clams, oysters, and mussels need to cook until the shells open during cooking. And scallops cook until the flesh is milky white or opaque and firm. Spend some time to answer these questions. The temperature danger zone. The temperature danger zone refers to the temperature range in which food-borne bacteria can grow. Food safety agencies such as the United States Food Safety and Inspection Service define the danger zone as roughly 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 to 140. Holding food for periods of time in this temperature range is not allowed in restaurants or supermarkets. Refer to this thermometer below. So if we look at the thermometer danger zone, you'll see that 165 degrees is the minimal internal temperature for safety for poultry, stuffing, casseroles, and reheating leftovers. 160 degrees is the minimal internal temperature for safety for egg dishes and ground meat. 145 degrees is the minimal internal temperature for safety of beef, pork, lamb, veal, roasts, steaks, and chops. 140 degrees is the minimal internal temperature for safety to cook ham or that is reheated. There is a danger zone between 140 degrees and 40 degrees for holding any cooked food. We do not hold cooked food in between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. 40 degrees Fahrenheit is the proper refrigerator temperature. 0 degrees is the proper freezer temperature. Spend some time and answer the questions. Proper food handling, part 3. To combat cross-contamination. Separate, don't cross-contaminate. Did you know that improper handling of raw meat, poultry, and seafood can set the stage for cross-contamination? As a result, bacteria can spread to foods we eat throughout the kitchen, restaurants, and grocery stores. Cross-contamination is the process by which bacteria or other microorganisms are unintentionally transferred from one substance or object to another with a harmful effect. Here are some ways to prevent harmful bacteria from spreading. These include: separate raw meat, poultry, and seafood from other foods in your grocery store, shopping cart, and in your refrigerator. Use one cutting board for preparing, cutting raw meats, fish, and another for fresh fruits, vegetables, and breads. Always wash your hands, cutting boards, dishes, and utensils with hot soapy water after they come into contact with raw meat, poultry, seafood, eggs, and unwashed fresh produce. Place cooked food on a clean plate. If you put cooked food on a plate that previously had raw meat, poultry, fish, or eggs on it, then the bacteria can contaminate the cooked food. To prevent juices from raw meat, poultry, and seafood from dripping onto other foods in your refrigerator, place these raw foods in sealed containers or plastic bags. Do not use the sauce that was used to marinate meat, poultry, or seafood on cooked foods unless it is boiled before using. Never taste marinades that have come into contact with raw meats, poultry, and seafood. Take some time to answer the questions. Chill out. Refrigerate promptly. Keep perishables, foods that spoil quickly, in the refrigerator. At room temperature, pathogenic bacteria in food can double in number every 30 to 40 minutes. The more bacteria there are, the greater the chance you can become sick. Here are some ways to keep foods cool. Refrigerate food quickly because cold temperatures keep most harmful bacteria from multiplying. A lot of people think it will harm the refrigerator to put hot food inside, but it's not true. Hot food won't harm your refrigerator. More important, prompt refrigeration of foods keeps you safer. Set your home refrigerator no higher than 40 degrees Fahrenheit and the freezer to 0 degrees. Check the temperature periodically with an external thermometer. Refrigerate or freeze perishable foods and leftovers within 2 hours. Divide large amounts of leftovers into shallow containers for quicker cooling. Marinate foods in the refrigerator. Don't pack the refrigerator too full. Cold air must circulate to keep food safe. At family outings, picnics, and parties, use a cooler to keep perishables cold. Always use ice packs in your cooler. All full cooler will retain its cold temperature longer than one that is partially full. Thaw frozen food in the microwave or in a bowl of cool water, or cook frozen. Never let frozen food thaw out on your kitchen counter. When serving foods outside, if the temperature is greater than 85 degrees, don't keep food out for more than an hour. If temperature is less than 85 degrees, you can keep it out for 2 hours.